It is focusing. Okay, good. Right. So, this is exciting. Black lines. Right. Let's do it again. Right. Okay. This is actually the second time I've had to shoot this part of the video because I shot the first one and then I got those horrendous black bars because I didn't check my shutter speed and you can't see it from here. So it's exciting because I just finished a project that I've been working on for a couple of weeks, maybe a month, probably about 2 months actually, thinking about it, where I decided to take my first ever guitar, which looked like this, and make it look newer and nicer really, because it was just a generic fake Strat that I got from my brother. If you want to see someone who's never done any proper paint work before, never taken apart a guitar before, try and do it for the first time, then you'll like this video. So the first step was to find some inspiration, and what's up?
Can you take that off?
This?
Yeah, I can't do it. Thank you.
There you go, you got
I
it.
just couldn't get my nail under that. I haven't had them for so long and I'm like, I don't know what to do.
So anyway, yeah, I found some reference pictures and decided that the theme I wanted to go for was black and gold, with the matte body, gloss pickguard, and then gold hardware. So found the inspiration online and then had to get to work. So the first thing I did was I took the whole thing apart, which again I'd never done before. So I had to take all of the screws out of the pickguard, I had to take all of the hardware out, all the electronics, I had to take the neck off as well, which I did at the very end. But as you can see, I've started taking all the bits apart, and then I run into my first problem. Knowing me, there's always going to be some sort of problem, but I ran into my first one. So after taking off the strings and the faceplate, I noticed that I needed to take off the jack, which was soldered all the way through. Now, I didn't think of this beforehand. I've done soldering before with some of my guitars for the jacks that have been broken, but I've never had to put stuff back together and sort of reconstruct it. So I noticed that obviously I couldn't just feed the jack through the hole. It was only big enough barely to fit the wire. So what I had to do was I had to think, who is going to have a soldering iron? Because I don't want to buy one for this one project and never use it again. So I was thinking, and I remembered my mum actually had one. So I contacted my mum and she said, yep, perfect, I'll drop one round, and I'll drop round some actual solder as well so you can redo it. So boom, problem solved. Now the next problem was with the bridge springs. You've got 3 or 5 at the back. Don't know what the name is, but the springs that go with the bridge. Trying to take the clip out of the body, the one that sits at the top of where the body is. Oh, so am I. One of the actual screws had become completely de-threaded, so I wasn't able to just easily screw it and take it out. It took a lot of Googling the best ways to get the screw out, Googling the best ways to pull stuff out manually to see if I could rip it out of the body and just redo it, but that didn't look like it was going to be possible. So I tried things like the rubber band technique, which I've used before. You have a rubber band and you fold it in half, maybe fold it in half again, and then put it in between the screw and the screwdriver, and it just creates a bit more tension. Same as if you're opening like a jar of something, you can put something rubber, like a pad in your hand, and then or like a rubber band around the edge, and it gives you way more grip. There you go, life tip. But after trying a bunch of stuff, I just ended up using some pliers and managed to slowly twist it out up until the point where I could just work it with my fingers and get it out of there. But that was a good half an hour, maybe 45 minutes of trying to figure out how to do it, and a lot of angry shouting as well. But that's done. And the next bit, of course, was to do the neck, which was the last thing I had to do before I could start painting. Regarding paint, we did have a look at a couple of different options, and the one that looked the best, obviously because I wanted that matte finish, was going to be a car paint. So we went to Halfords and we bought some of these just cans of matte black car paint, which was super cheap. They're like £6-7 for a whole bottle, and really, really cheap and easy to use. And we just had to get the space set up outside, so we set down some split bin bags and weighed them down with some rocks and got the body ready to start. So again, we started painting and everything was looking really good. We only had one can at the time just so that we could test it out, see how it works. So after driving to Halfords and picking up another couple cans, we finished the bodywork and then moved on to the next bit. So we finished all the body painting work and then had to dry it as well. So I improvised by putting a box on the table and just drying it that way, just having it sit in somewhere where I don't care if the paint comes off, I don't care if the paint sticks, just leaving it there, left it for a couple of days. It was perfect. So the next thing we had to do was wait for all the packages to arrive. So here's a list of all the parts that I got. Eventually, it took about a week, maybe a week and a half for everything to properly arrive. But I spent around £100 on everything, including the paint. It was not an expensive job at all. I just wanted to cheap and cheerful, get something out there, and just sort of see if I can make it look nice. And still play as well as it did before. Not fantastic, but plays well enough. So we had to open all the packages. So once they arrived, we had the guitar knobs, the jack, the pickup screws, switch caps, the faceplate, the neck, loads and loads and loads of stuff. You'll see that when I take some of these out of the packages, they're already gold and black. That's because I've already worked on them and made them the right colour. I'll tell you how I did that. When I was looking at the builds that were already out there and the ones that I was inspired by, they had almost identical knobs to the ones I was looking at, where it was gold around the outside and then black on the top. And I knew that they didn't sell those anywhere. I couldn't find it because obviously it was matte black as well. I didn't want glossy. So after searching a little bit, I found these ones which have an abalone top. So I had to try and find an inventive way to mask around where the gold was with like masking tape and just try and cut around where it was. Yes, bitch. Put them down, spray paint them, and they came out looking fantastic, I think. They came out looking really well. So, as I said before, the last thing to arrive was the neck. That took the longest. I didn't want to do much more until that was done, but I did construct the majority of the body on the day that it arrived. So, as you can see here, we've got all of the parts being put back together, stuff being resoldered. That was a nightmare, I won't lie, resoldering everything. Because I don't know if it's the type of solder we had or if it's just my complete ignorance, but it was just not that I couldn't find a good way to do it. I was holding the solder on, putting the iron on, I was doing the iron and the solder. I was trying all the different ways, and eventually it turned out that holding the soldering iron, heating the solder onto it, and then sort of like wiping it off, like scraping it on, that seemed to be the only way that I could get it to work. But that was a fucking nightmare. So once I'd resoldered all the hardware and put all the screws back in, some of the screws were a little bit misplaced because obviously the pick guard that I bought is meant for an actual Fender Strat, and I think this knockoff one, to avoid copyright, they moved the screw probably like half an inch or quarter of an inch, but it was just enough where I had to re-screw. I had to really put some back into putting them in correctly and making them stay because they were being a bit stubborn. Then we got the bridge on. Bridge was quite easy except from the springs. The springs were, again, a nightmare. Trying to find a way to do them properly. I, again, in my ignorance, didn't think to unscrew the clip to move it down, put the springs on, and screw them back in. I kind of screwed it in and I was trying to pull with the crazy tension that these tight springs have. I was trying to pull them up, and they did kind of ping off and fly everywhere a couple of times. So there's a lesson learned, I think. Oh, I'm glad that wasn't my eye. So I eventually got the bridge sorted and the body was looking really cool. I put something up on my Instagram once the body was done before I had the neck done, and it looks really clean. Again, the paintwork's not perfect, but again, this was just for fun. This was just to see if I could do it and how much it would change the look of the guitar. Here's a fucking mess, dude. Total mess. Anyway, that's all of today's building done, which is exciting. Completely obviously done all the hardware now. You can have another look at it. Yeah. Looks really cool. It looks almost exactly like the build I was inspired by, that I found online on some forum. So it's done well. So then I had to drill the holes into the neck to be able to assemble it with the body, which wasn't too difficult at all. Just managed to use the holes in the back of the bodywood and mark in where I needed to drill. And it just went from there, really. Nice and simple. Bolted everything back in. I've got the gold neck plate as well, which I ordered. which is really nice. Which actually came with like a black plastic surround, obviously just for packaging. But it looked kind of cool, and I was trying to decide whether to keep it or not, but I thought no, because it might look like I'm really ignorant and not know that you're not meant to use it, so I obviously left it off. So obviously with the neck, I wanted a satin finish as well, so I bought some wire wool, and it ended up being quite a simple process, but I didn't want to completely finish it. I wanted to sort of do a semi-satin neck, because I've got a PRS which has got satin neck, and then I've got some others that have got gloss necks, and I kind of like in between actually, so just sanded it down to how much I wanted. So once we got the neck on there, I had a bit of a happy moment seeing it all put together, seeing it all nice and pretty, and then obviously we have to put the strings on there. And then restring it up, and then it's going to be done. It's going to be a brand new guitar. How exciting. How cool. So, if you haven't already spotted, I've got different hair. I look a little bit, like to think I look a little bit neater, because there's quite a time difference here. I've had a haircut and I've been working on this for a while. Obviously, after the bodywork was done, I had to redo the strings. I had to try and get it tuned and intonated and get the bridge balanced and everything like that. And it still wasn't sitting very nicely. So what I did in the end is I ended up taking it to a technician, TMC in Crawley. He's my local guy, Dave. He's amazing. But we think it's probably going to be a couple of months until it's, you know, really, really playable. But for now, there's only a couple of intonation problems because the neck's slightly warped. And we're going to have to keep playing it, keep trying to keep increasing the tension so that we can get an even bend in the neck and then nearly flatten it out like you would do. But with all that said, here is the guitar. So obviously you can see we've got all of the gold hardware, we've got everything on here that I really wanted, to be honest. Really great looking body. The paint job came out a lot better than I thought. Again, there are some imperfections on the bottom. I don't even know if the camera will be able to pick it up, to be honest. Maybe you might be able to see it there, I'm not too sure. But there's some imperfections where newspaper or a bin bag or something has stuck to the bottom because it blew in the wind or whatever. But yeah, all in all, I think it looks amazing. I think it's really, really cool. It's just got a couple of buzzing frets, 5th fret on the A string, and then 17th or 19th fret on some of the higher ones. It's little things, but it's just because the neck's a little bit warped. So we're just going to have to wait for that to sort itself out and keep taking it back and, you know, adjusting it here and there and seeing if we can convince it to sit, really. Because once it's done that, then it's good, it's done. So even though the guitar doesn't play as nice as it could, I'm still happy with it. I think it looks brilliant. I'm really happy with my first project. I am meaning to get a little logo to put here, a little Conor logo or something similar. I thought I'd give you guys a little bit of a sound demo. They're the same pickups, I just bought new pickup caps, so I thought it would be good for you guys to hear what it sounds like. I had 2 particular songs in mind that I wanted to play on this guitar before I even started the project, so I'll play them for you now. Well, I'm sailing. that is it. That is my knockoff Conor Stratocaster. There's no better name for it. I think it's really cool. I've had some really great advice from some people. I've met some really cool people doing it, and a lot of you guys have been really interested over Instagram or wherever to see the progress, which has been really nice. So I hope you did enjoy this little build video. I think I'll definitely be doing some more. Obviously lockdown has enabled me to do stupid shit like this and not have to worry about when and how. It's just spend a bit of money, have some fun, you know. But yeah, if you did like this, obviously feel free to subscribe, like the video, drop a comment, whatever you want to do. Just let me know if you enjoyed it, because I had a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it, so it'd be cool to see if somebody else does and if it inspires you to do the same. So thanks again, and I'll see you soon.